Welcome to Walking on Air. I'm your show host, Bridget, and today I will be speaking with Paul Leendertse and Aria Konrad, the founders of the Root Cause Institute. Now, if you are struggling with cancer right now, this will be a key interview for you to listen to because Paul and Aria are doing work that really helps people get to the root cause of their cancer and helps them on their healing journey. So, Paul, Aria, welcome.
Thanks, Bridget.
Thank you.
Just to get started, just tell me about yourselves and the Root Cause Institute. What is it? What does it do?
Together now for 7 years, we've been operating the Root Cause Institute. I started root cause work, which is like getting to the root cause of symptoms, why they appear in the body, particularly cancer. I started that work myself independently in 2010-ish, 2008, I can't remember now. So it's been quite a long time, 17 years in total for me, 7 with Aria since she joined me. And we've been focusing on the emotional and mental, spiritual side related to stress and factors that ultimately play a role in the development of symptoms in our body and how to resolve those factors so that we can allow our body to heal, so those symptoms in our body can disappear. So for 17 years, I've not been focused on physical stuff, supplements, cures, things like that. We've been focusing on root cause stuff, if that makes sense.
And that is emotional, psychological, spiritual, is what you're saying.
Correct. Yeah.
Cancer seems to be really super common these days. Approximately how many people do you have coming to you?
Yeah, cancer is super common. Like most people know someone, unfortunately, that either has cancer or has died of cancer. I've had people in my family die of cancer. The statistics about cancer say that about 50% of the world develops cancer. This is in like well-established countries like the United States, Canada, In terms of the number of people that we see coming to us, it's increasing very, very slowly, but over the years it's increasing because like the root cause is kind of like the least focused on thing. For 100 years now, the focus in the traditional world of like the war on cancer is not on root cause at all, right? That focus is on trying to destroy cancer. Most of that research is done on different types of ingredients or substances like chemotherapy that might destroy cancer cells. The majority of the world, I think, is still in kind of a war on cancer approach, but more and more people are starting to understand, like, wait a second, we've got to look at our diet, for example. A lot more people do that, but the root cause is not even about the diet. It's deeper than that. It's like we talked about briefly, it's the emotional, psychological, spiritual side of things. Like essentially what's going on in our life, what's going on in our heart, what's going on in our mind. Like stress really has a massive impact on the body, but unfortunately, almost zero research has been done on that. But this is kind of like what we have been doing for 17 years, focused on the root cause. We have testimonials on the website. I think as more people value this root cause work and really take this in as part of their approach to healing rather than just focusing on like destroying cancer or focusing on trying to find physical sources of a cure, instead going deeper and doing transformational work, I think we're going to see a lot more testimonials, obviously, and a lot more people taking the course. So it's astonishing to me, but like I mean, there's a lot of beliefs about cancer out there, a lot of things being promoted that are suggesting that that's like the cure. This is like the answer to cancer. There's social media channels that have like millions or hundreds of thousands of followers, but you don't see like almost any testimonials at all.
Can you give an example of, say, maybe your favorite success story?
This is a powerful story, but I just don't want people to start having expectations because after I first shared the story, then people started thinking like this should apply to me too, and not that it can't apply to other people, but then people can start to feel like they're failing to heal if they don't heal this fast. But the fastest client that I've had healed in 2 weeks, and she had stage 4 cancer. It was a tumor in her lungs, and 2 weeks after she resolved the root cause. And we actually accomplished that in just a 3 hour session. Then her tumor was gone 2 weeks later. It was the size of a golf ball. If someone's listening that has very little exposure to root cause work and how this all works, that might sound kind of far-fetched, but I just want to quickly explain why that can work is because when we have unresolved stress in our life, it can be from the past and it's carried in our body as an energy. Energy is
Mhm.
a very real thing. Like our emotions are made of energy, right? If a person's angry, that's a real thing, but it's not physical. You can't touch anger. You can't like hold anger in your hand, but it's obviously real. So there's a lot of different energies related to stress, other energies like fear, sadness, etc. These are all real energies and they can have an effect on our body. And so that's what I believe after all these years is really truly causing the majority of symptoms that people experience in their body, but especially cancer. So when those deeper things that are related to fear or sadness or anger, like I gave as an example, are resolved, and that anger is gone or that fear is gone, etc., when those stress energies are actually resolved, which can be difficult to actually accomplish, when they're resolved, that's when I have seen cancer disappear. In this case, 2 weeks later, we had a very powerful session. It was realistic for whatever the reasons. There's lots of factors at play, but we got to a resolution in one session. So tumor was gone 2 weeks later. No treatments, no supplements, nothing like that. She had been doing treatments and her cancer had come back. This is why she did the root cause work because she tried everything else and it wasn't working. So it takes some work and knowledge to get down to what the root actually is because stress can be a very complicated thing and everyone has different types of stress in their life anyways. So sometimes it takes longer though. Like I said, I don't want people to think like, oh, like to put that kind of expectation on themselves. That should happen for me too because why am I not healed after 1 month? That other person just took 2 weeks. So it's important to realize that everyone's story is different, but the essential approach is the same to do this deeper work and get to your resolution.
Literally, you're just talking to your client, just digging into their lives and finding out what's going on in their lives.
More than just talking, because I don't want anyone to think this is like talk therapy, because to be honest, I find that talk therapy has a lot of limitations. I mean, there's some value in it, but we've had lots of people take this training that have been in therapy for like 15 years, talking, talking, and talking. And it's not really getting to the root of things and getting to real resolution. But yes, of course, we're doing a lot of talking. There's a lot of guidance. We're sharing wisdom, really rare wisdom. There's things that I've learned about the deeper root causes of cancer that I don't think are really generally known in society. And the reason is because for 10 years, I lived with people with cancer having these conversations, investigating what's going on in your life, what's going on in your job, what's going on in your family, what happened in your childhood. And that has taught me so much. So I have a lot of guidance and wisdom to share. And that's led to a lot of spiritual tools, like specific, actionable, practical things you can do as well. One of the things that I've created is a 15-step process, and that's a journaling process. And you follow a structure that is very tried and tested for helping bring resolution to things. So, like a lot of people, when they develop cancer, they're sent on this roller coaster of trying to find protocols, supplements, treatments, all these things. But the root cause approach is very, very different. You would sit down, start doing some writing, but with some real guidance and with some real education behind it. So you're not just like freely writing, although that can be helpful, of course. So there's a lot of spiritual tools to be learned in this. That's what we're doing with our clients. We're teaching spiritual tools. We're teaching soul connection and self-love practices. So that's not really a tool, but like experiences that you can go through that help you connect to your emotions and help you release stuck energy and help bring resolution. There's talking, there's guidance, so there's a lot to it. So we want real change to happen in a person's life. We don't want to just be talking.
That's great. So, what are the most common cancers that people are coming towards you with? What kind of root cause would be associated with them?
I think by far the most common cancer that we see is breast cancer. We have more women in our courses than men. So I really want to say a big thank you to all the men out there who are doing this kind of work because it seems to be like there's a greater hurdle for men to look into their emotions and get into this kind of work. But breast cancer is the most common cancer in women. And it has a lot to do with personal sacrifice and nurturing and over nurturing, putting one's own needs separate or kind of on the back burner while giving to other people. And that is really interesting because it correlates to this like nourishment giving organ of the body, which is the breasts. Where that stress shows up in the body is in the breast tissue. From working with people with cancer, we can actually learn what kind of stress patterns are most prevalent in society. And so women sacrificing themselves in the name of love is a really, really big one. Then there's some lung cancer that we also commonly get, and that's common in both men and women. And that's got a lot to do with grief and loss, losing something that's important to oneself, like losing a loved one or losing one's dream, losing like a home that was really important to someone that was more than just a home. It was like their legacy or where they wanted to really be in the world and live. It can even be the loss of a pet if it's like a super, super intense, deep relationship that they had with that pet. It's just like the loss of something really meaningful that's difficult to process and let go and come to resolution about and find new joy in life. It's like that was their whole world, that was their joy. Resolving that is really important. And then I think maybe the third most common one could be colon cancer. What do you think there, Paul? Is that
Yeah, that sounds about right.
colon cancer has a lot to do with survival? So it's like a more primal kind of cancer. It's a lot of fear. It often involves money. It often involves family dynamic that are not healthy and hard to get out of. It could also be not a family, but like someone's work environment or really, really close friend group. But very often with colon cancer, there's like some kind of stress in the family, and it involves some kind of survival-based financial challenges as well.
So, can you give any cancer prevention pointers?
Well, the prevention's the same as the healing. How to heal from cancer, from what I've observed over the years, is just the same as prevention. If stress indeed does cause harm to our body, and I don't just mean stress itself, but unresolved stress, chronic stress, like things that aren't getting better, but even potentially getting worse as time goes on, we're all going to experience stress in our life. So it's not just that like stress will cause symptoms, it's when it reaches certain intensities, right? So what stress is something negative. We kind of have to become educated, knowledgeable, and skilled as individuals as to how to evolve or grow in personal development through stress. Because then that stress does not carry with us. In fact, it transforms into something positive. So that's why I'm saying the prevention's the same as healing, because if we have cancer or we've developed symptoms, it's because stressful energies have not been resolved and carried with us instead. So we have to resolve them to heal. Preventing cancer is just the same thing. It's when we encounter stressful energies, we resolve them so we don't develop cancer. Now, healing is a little more difficult, we could say, because once the fear of death comes into the scenario, now we have other things to have to resolve. Our course has sections on that too. So we really have to learn how to like navigate different specific emotions depending on which one applies to any particular cancer. We may have to learn a lot about the energy or the emotion of fear and how to have a relationship with it and how to transcend it, basically. Or we might need to learn a lot about shame, how to heal from within, or guilt, or anger, or sadness, for example. See, in the traditional, the answer is pretty simple there. You know, what they would teach is like, well, how do I prevent cancer? You go get a screening, make sure that you don't smoke, don't drink alcohol, you should be good, like that kind of a thing. Or alternatively, you should take like a high quality supplement, let's say. Both of those things are missing the mark. If the root cause of cancer is actually related to stress, then what that means is most of the world's not focused on the prevention of cancer without realizing it. Like if we don't actually understand the cause of cancer, if we have that wrong, we think things are going to prevent it. This is why many of my clients say to me, Paul, I don't understand why I have cancer. I was healthy. I exercised. I had a good diet. I don't understand why I have cancer. Or some people have said to me, I don't have a particular cancer gene that's highly associated with breast cancer, like the BCR-A gene. There's other genes as well that are associated with cancer, and many of my clients say, I don't have that gene, so I don't understand why I have cancer. Or I've had people say, I don't smoke, Paul. I've never smoked in my life and I have lung cancer and I wasn't exposed to toxic chemicals. Why do I have lung cancer? If we think that the cause of cancer is smoking, then we can like really focus on not smoking, but then still develop lung cancer. Nicotine, that particular drug, helps soothe grief. And that's one of the reasons why people smoke often, because it's an addiction. It's a way of helping cope with the emotional pain that's beneath it. So many times when people are smoking, I'm not saying every time, but many times people are smoking because they actually are covering over sadness. So then we think, oh, the reason why people are getting lung cancer is because so many people smoke. But what I'm saying is the reason is because so many people have unresolved grief. So many of the addictions in our society are covering over emotional challenges, emotional pain. 100 years in the war on cancer, almost no research has been done on the root cause of cancer. That might sound shocking. I'm literally saying with all the trillions of dollars, 100 years plus of research, almost nothing has been done to research the root cause of cancer. Most of it has been done on taking a cancer cell or a tumor that's not even inside of a person's body, putting it in a beaker and seeing what can destroy the cell. That is not looking at people's lives. It's not looking at the person. It's not looking at society. It's not looking at so many things that could be causal factors. And there's lots of doctors and nurses. There's lots of people, osteopaths, physiotherapists, naturopaths. A lot of naturopaths are realizing emotional stress is really very much a causal factor here. And that's why we have a lot of naturopaths taking our training, actually.
So, physically, what does emotional stress do to one that would cause the cancer? Can you explain the physical dynamics of what that stress does to someone?
There's different depths that I can explain this with. So for here, I'm just going to keep it a little more simple. But what essentially happens is when we have emotional distress, and there's many different kinds, right? Like we could be stressed about money. That's very different than being stressed about like love. So there's different ways that we can be stressed. And those actually correlate scientifically with different areas of our brain. And our brain is connected through the spinal cord to different parts of our body. This is why actually there's these ancient teachings like the person has a broken heart, or I was so scared I peed my pants. Because there's actually a psychological correlation through nerve branches that come out of our spinal cord to different organs. If I'm afraid, it can actually affect my bladder. If I have love pain, it can actually affect my heart. We've been mapping that for 17 years now, correlating them all, and we're at a point now where we're so confident because it's just over and over again accurate. So what happens is when we have stress in a particular way, and it gets very complicated because we can be suppressing things too. So you might not even know that there's certain stresses going on. We learn as human beings how to cope, and one way is to suppress. One way of coping can actually be positive thinking because we're not actually connecting to what actually doesn't feel good. So instead, we're trying to focus on the positive. So, anyways, that energy of stress can become restricted in a part of our body. It's like it causes a blockage of flow. And that blockage actually makes it so that the physical cells in that part of the body are compromised. If you can imagine that I'm happy and I'm confident and I'm feeling love and I'm feeling freedom, wouldn't we all love to feel like that all the time, right? If I'm feeling that, it's like my energy is flowing, like I feel really good. But if I get angry, then I become like restricted and I become focused on one thing. I'm not open anymore. So energetically, there's deep things happening in our energy system that begins to like close down on parts of our physical body. And that's where cancer grows. The reason it grows there is because the physical body becomes compromised in that specific spot. This is why you can be healthy everywhere else, but just this one spot, there's a lump because that one spot's compromised. And because it's compromised, it's not getting the nourishment it needs anymore. So it actually starts to not get the energies that it needs to be alive. Many people think that we need nutrition to feed our cells, right? And of course we do. But we need energy to feed our cells as well. If we've got anger feeding part of our cells in a specific part of the body, it really starts to compromise those physical cells. They literally will break down. They can't stay in a state like that forever. Then eventually they begin to die. So you can have a part of your body that's dying. If a person has a cancer, if they have a tumor, that is the part of their body that's actually in a death state. Now, the rest of the body's good, but that part is actually in a death state. Because it's in a death state, it begins to attract fungus. This is what I think is happening. And there's lots of reasons for this. I explain this in lots more detail in my trainings and my courses, but because the job of fungus is to break down dead and dying tissue. That's why stress causes symptoms in the body. Stress equates to different energy flowing, and when it's unresolved, that energy gets stuck. And when the energy's stuck, it compromises that part of our body, and then we develop symptoms because that's how our body heals, is to develop different forms of inflammation to try to resolve the matter. But if we're not getting to the root of it, if that energy is always there, then the symptoms aren't going to go away. In fact, they can just keep getting worse as time goes on. And that's how cancer can eventually spread and grow bigger. Does that answer the question?
Yes, it does. So, for those out there who are struggling with cancer right now, what's the best thing that you offer that they can plug into?
The absolute best thing is our accelerated self-healing course. And this is a course that we are continuously expanding and refining and adding more tools to. We're constantly working with clients that have taken the course that are doing this root cause work to heal. We're always getting feedback and making the course better and better and better. It's kind of like real research at the same time as real education and guidance on what we've already discovered works. So absolutely, the Accelerated Self-Healing course is like really wise investment because then you're going to start learning real spiritual tools. Most people have not been prepared for life. Like when we go to school, we don't get prepared for the parts of life that are really impactful on us. For example, we don't learn about how to have a healthy relationship with our married partner. We don't learn really about sex and all the different, like we might learn what a penis and a vagina is or something, but we don't learn about boundary crossing. And we don't learn about all these different social dynamics around sex and what it all means. We don't learn like good communication and connection skills. We don't learn how to heal grief. We're not taught how to heal grief. So there's lung cancer, for example, right? We're not taught about death. We're not taught and prepared for how to deal with fear that can happen in life, how to deal with stress related to money, love pain and love factors. There's so much that we're not prepared for. And this is kind of like the spiritual realm. In order to heal or prevent cancer, we really have to start learning this, learn these tools, and begin incorporating these things into our lives so that we're not just like a human being that has been prepared for like the economy or something. Like we went to school to learn math and history, and now we can go and get a job or maybe start our own business and make money, and then we're going to go try to like have a family. But hold on a second, like there's a lot that we need to learn about the human heart, spirituality, and forgiveness, for example. Forgiveness can be very confusing, and sometimes it's inappropriate to forgive. Sometimes it is appropriate to give. Sometimes it's absolutely necessary to forgive, and other times it's absolutely necessary to not forgive. Because sometimes we forgive someone, we're actually enabling them. There's just a lot to know. I really strongly urge people that if they have cancer to do the root cause work. Like if you're interested in going deeper and healing from within, this course has been 17 years in the making. So it's got a lot to offer.
I've actually been enrolled in your course. When I go to talk to anyone about what you're doing and what I'm learning, they usually say, "Oh, that sounds like German New Medicine." So, can you really bring some clarity to where you might be similar to German New Medicine and where you are very different to German New Medicine?
That's an important question. Thanks for bringing it up. Over the years, this starts to get frustrating because I don't want to be confused with German new medicine because it's very different what we do. But I want to say there's one main thing, and that's it. Dr. Hammer, the founder of German new medicine, he discovered essentially something very similar to what I discovered in my work. Like I said, I've been doing this for 17 years, focused on the root cause of cancer. It didn't take me too long to realize that cancer is always associated with unresolved stress in a person's life. There's always some events, some factors, some things going on in a person's life that happen before the cancer develops. And I think that's a huge deal because it's taking a leap forward in understanding health, realizing stress actually can cause symptoms in our body. It's not just our diet or toxins. After that, unfortunately, there's a lot of differences, really serious ones. There's many things I just don't agree with Dr. Hammer based on my experience. So how the body works, like how Dr. Hammer explains the body works, I disagree with entirely. So with Germany medicine, I do have respect for Germany medicine people. I just want to say that. I know lots of different Germany medicine people out there, and of course, I know lots of root cause practitioners, and definitely I would rather see more root cause practitioners because they're, following the teachings that I've discovered over the years that I think are actually more accurate and important in many ways. But I think everyone has the right intention. Everyone's wanting to resolve the root cause. So I have respect for German medicine people, but I just want you to understand that it's not what I teach, and I disagree with most of what's taught by GNM.
The similarity between German new medicine and the root cause work is that both focuses on stress as the cause of cancer, so something non-physical. There's already a difference here though, because GNM says it's always a shock. Whether with the root cause work, it can be a slow accumulation of a person not being true to themselves over time, and the stress from that can accumulate. So that's already an important difference. From there, German new medicine has different teachings about the different causes of different cancers. Testicular cancer is associated with loss in German new medicine, and Hammer apparently discovered that because he lost his son and then had testicular cancer shortly afterwards. However, we discovered that testicular cancer always has to do with sex, and there's never been a loss associated with it. Likewise, with lung cancer, they teach it's the fear of death. But I already earlier explained it has to do with loss from our discoveries. So then the other thing is that German new medicine says there's like a purpose to the tumor. Often it depends on many factors, but often like the tumor helps a person breathe better or digest more food. And we have found the opposite to be the case. If we work with someone with like lung cancer and we ask them, how's your breathing? They're like, I can't breathe well. I'm not getting enough air. Or I can't digest food well if they have colon cancer. From our perspective, everything we've seen is it's not actually helping the person, it's impairing the function of the body. So this is like a direct opposite. Then in German new medicine, there are two different types of cancer because they have this idea about these healing phases. The body goes through different phases and eventually heals. So the one half of the cancers is like, oh, something happened to you, a shock, and you need to resolve that to heal. But the other half is, oh, a shock happened to you, you resolved it, and now you have a cancer. So it's called like a healing cancer. I don't know if that's like the exact wording for it, but they say it's a good sign. The cancer is a sign of the body healing, and it's going to go through different phases that are somehow related to how long you had the issue, and then it's going to disappear. And that is the part that Paul and I find really dangerous because that's where we had a bunch of clients that have been told by GNM, oh, your cancer is a healing cancer. It's just a phase. It's going to go through these phases. It's going to be painful. It's going to be swelling, maybe even bleeding. And this is a good sign. It's healing and it's going to go away on its own. And that's highly problematic to us because every time we've worked with someone that has been told that, they just seem to be getting worse over time. We don't think it's resolved, and that's why the cancer is getting worse. It's not because it's been resolved. So German new medicine has all these like intricate theories about why that is and why some cancers are healing cancers and other cancers are not. And we don't agree with any of that. To us, cancer is always a sign that something is still unresolved. And it can be in different stages. So it can grow fast, it can grow slow, it can stop growing. If the problem has kind of come to a halt, it can stop growing. And if it's resolved entirely, then it would shrink and disappear. So I hope that brings a little bit more clarity to the differences and the similarities, which really there's just one primary similarity.
The other thing that's really important to understand about the root cause work versus GNM is that Dr. Hammer did not have awareness about or deep education in or knowledge about childhood trauma, for example. He did not realize that cancer is related to emotional suppression in a massive way. And that ties into some very deep stuff that oftentimes originates in our childhood. So the root cause work is, I think, a lot deeper and more accurate with regards to what's going on in people's lives. And our whole approach to healing, the guidance that we would give is very, very different. Aria was saying, for example, that with lung cancer, we would not be focusing on trying to help them deal with the fear of death because that would be a complete waste of time. It would actually not be helping the person very much at all. Instead, we'd be focusing on helping a person resolve their feelings of loss or grief. When these theories are different, it sets a whole different path.
Taking another step to the other side, state-sponsored allopathic medicine does tend to be the legal authority on how to heal someone. Literally, legally, that is really all we're allowed to do officially. How do you keep yourself out of trouble?
Well, that's a really important thing to bring up because one of the things we teach our root cause practitioners, for example, and I tell all my clients as well, is that you can't heal somebody because of how the body works. For example, let's just keep it really simple. If I eat really unhealthy, like microwaved processed food that's just loaded with refined sugar and natural flavors and all these chemicals and stuff, and I eat that. So this is just an extreme example to make the point. And then I get like a stomach ache and I get a headache and then I have like loose stools. And then the next day I eat that again. Let's say I don't know that I shouldn't be eating that, but that's what's happening. I'm eating it every single day. Then I'm going to have symptoms in my body because the body is designed to respond to what damages it, develop inflammation, and start cleaning up the mess, repairing cells, solving the problem, right? But like I said, if I were to eat that every single day, then I'm going to continuously develop those symptoms. So, can somebody heal me? It's impossible, right? Because the only way to really heal would be for me to realize what I need to change and make better for myself. In this example, I would learn and realize that that's actually really toxic what I'm eating. I might even come to realize that the company that sells the food doesn't even care about my health. I would cut that food out. I would go through a process. Maybe I'm addicted to the food. It could be hard. And many companies put addictive substances in foods too. Not to say that change is easy, but once I get that out, then my body would just finish the healing response. It would no longer be inflamed. So how could I ever possibly be healed by somebody? We're not really too worried about that because what we're doing is we're helping people become educated on their body, on their emotions, on their mind, on spirituality, basically teaching people tools for how to change and how to make improvements in their life and create more abundance in their life, create more happiness, create more joy, create more freedom, etc. So we're just kind of like doing all these things to allow the body to heal itself. We're not offering any kind of like cure here. We're not saying that we like heal someone. If anything, we're working as a team to help a person become empowered and help a person change their life and whatever they need to change that's not good for them. We're not stepping on the medical system's toes because we don't offer some kind of a cure. We don't attack symptoms. That's the realm of the medical. So if the medical wants to attack symptoms and wants to offer some kind of like pharmaceutical cure, that's, like you said, legal. I've had a burning passion for this for years, like after losing family members to cancer and realizing that the holistic training I had didn't even come close to helping someone with cancer. Knowing about supplements and nutrition and cutting electromagnetic radiation out and thinking positively and stuff, it didn't even come close to helping a person heal. We've got to really understand our emotions. We got to understand so much more than that. But every little bit of spiritual progress you make in root cause work is something that you carry forever. It's like when we overcome a fear, it's gone forever. It's really worth the investment. It's worth our time and our energy. And it brings more abundance in all ways. Like real abundance to me is not just money, of course, and financial security, but happiness, joy, health. We're not just trying to eliminate cancer. In fact, that's not even the focus. We're trying to allow cancer to leave naturally because we've increased the abundance in our life through our personal work.
Well, thank you. And Aria, is there anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I think that cancer can really be seen as a messenger that something in our life is not good for us, is out of harmony with what's truly nourishing us. And it's really a journey home to authenticity and to self-love. And cancer is sort of this kind of intense invitation to do that. So it can be really intense, but the people who have healed often say cancer was a gift in the end. So in the beginning, when they're diagnosed, it doesn't feel like a gift. It doesn't feel like, oh, this is actually a good thing that this is happening. Sometimes people even say that, but it's rare because sometimes people are like, oh, now I know I have to leave this job, or I have to move to the other side of the country, or I have to end this relationship. There's this like deep intuition that some people already have when they're diagnosed. For other people, it's more like a slow unraveling. That unraveling typically only happens once people start seeing cancer as a messenger and no longer as the enemy that we need to fight against. So by really shifting our perception of what cancer is, and not sugarcoating it either, because it is intense and it can lead to death. Like by being honest and real about that, this could lead to death, but it can also be an opportunity for a new life. Because if I change based on the message that cancer is bringing, there's not only a potential for healing the body, but there is a potential for living a life that feels so much better and so much more true to who we really are. And those, in my perception, like from what I've seen, they go together. So that's why, in the end, many people say, this cancer was actually a gift. I just didn't see it in the beginning.
There's lots to learn here, but it's about a rebirth. It's about becoming empowered from inside yourself, having a relationship with your emotions and with your soul. Our soul has insights. We have realizations that can actually come from within. We actually have a guidance system and we have emotions for a reason. And we need to start understanding why do we feel the way we do. It's really kind of like a quest or a devotion to love and truth as well. Stress is not love and truth, right? Like when we're experiencing something that is in alignment with happiness or equality or peace, or trust, safety, freedom, that's not stress, right? So we really have to go through kind of like a spiritual process of healing. That we need to want this. We need to really want to go on sort of like a spiritual quest that's very real. It's not a philosophy, it's a real personal transformation. We can't really carry the same programming, the same behaviors, the same exact coping strategies, let's say. Even some of our belief systems might have to change, but we've got to be able to want to go through that process. One of the analogies I give to kind of help put this into simple picture format is like if we have cancer, we're like this. And in order to heal, we've got to like expand and open and become like a higher version of ourselves. Something has caused us to close. Something's got us like stuck, you know? Life has been hard, let's say, in some certain way. And we've got to go from here to here. And so the accelerated self-healing course helps you start to do this, open. And when you reach here, that's when cancer is typically gone.
How much is it to take the accelerated self-healing?
Yeah, accelerated self-healing course. Yeah. The price is $3,000 for the course. The course comes with a bi-weekly call. It's a group call, and it's people that have cancer and they're doing this root cause work to heal. So it's really powerful. I didn't expect it to be this good for people and this supportive in people's healing journeys, but of course now it makes sense. Because when you see other people that have the same cancer potentially, like if someone else has breast cancer or someone else has colon cancer, then you realize, oh my God, they have a similar story to me. And when you're listening to other people's questions on the calls and other people's stories, and you're hearing the guidance that Ari and I share based on what we've experienced over the years, then it starts to benefit the whole group. And there's something really powerful about that. So when you're going through this course, you have the biweekly calls at the same time to support you as you are educating yourself in the course. And we're constantly refining and updating it. If we discover something that's valuable, then we put it into the course. So it's also an evolving course as well.
What exactly is the course?
Okay, so the course is a self-paced online pre-recorded course of videos mostly of teachings. And inside the course, we hone in on each cancer. So if you're someone that has if you've been diagnosed with colon cancer, the course has specific videos talking all about colon cancer specifically, the themes, the emotions, and the things needed to resolve it, and the factors that are always at play from our experience over the years that have caused it. So it's very customized. So there's an educational section really helping to understand emotions more than our conversation here by far. It's many hours of video. You just go at your own pace. So every day, for example, you could watch an hour of the course or whatever suits each individual. At the same time, there is the bi-weekly call. Every 2 weeks, we have a group call, and it's approximately 2 hours. Sometimes we go longer because we want to answer everyone's questions that may be there for each call. So we have lots of different individuals asking questions like, how do I deal with this emotion I have? I have a specific challenge with my mother or something. How do I deal with that? And so we're talking about some deep stuff that's really helpful to learn about together as a group. The course itself isn't just education though, because one of the things we teach is just education alone does not necessarily lead to one healing. We have to embody things. So the course teaches spiritual practices. I mentioned one is the 15-step process. It's a journaling process that you learn so that you can use that now as a regular tool in your toolbox that is very effective. It's really changed people's lives and it's helped people heal. So then we have soul connection practices, many of them. For example, it's very powerful to learn how to move your body from the guidance of your own soul to music that does not have words. So we have hand-selected music, for example, in the course, and we give instruction on how to move your body to music, not by learning some kind of a mind thing, like you learn a certain movement pattern, but you learn how to let your soul move your body. And many people have emotional releases from experiences like that. And not just that, but they also experience joy. The whole course is kind of designed to transform stress into something positive. So we're really evolving and growing. So the course is kind of like an independent course that you're doing on your own, but at the same time, you have connection to myself and Aria for support every other week. But we also have submission forms. So when you're going through the course, if you watch a particular video on a particular topic and you have questions, or let's say you're confused, so we have feedback forms. So we're constantly connected with our clients. So every time someone with breast cancer takes the course gets better for people with breast cancer. Every time someone takes the course that has pancreatic cancer, the course gets better. This is very different. I hope I'm making sense here. In the war on cancer, for 100 years, the focus has been how do we destroy the cancer in a beaker? How do we destroy the cancer in a beaker and then give these drugs to people, but not looking into what's going on in people's lives? So this is really powerful stuff. It's very valuable and it's worth the investment. The number of clients that I've seen over the years that have told me what they've spent money on already, which has not worked, weeks and weeks of some kind of a particular supplement, $1,000 a week for this supplement, 16-week protocol, $16,000, and then doesn't address the cancer because it's not the root cause. Or healing retreat centers where people are spending $50,000 to $150,000 to go and do this huge, huge regime of protocols and things, and it doesn't work, or it works, and then their cancer comes back 2 weeks after the retreat. A lot of people are spending a lot of money on things that are not addressing the root. I got to be honest with you, the root cause work is harder. It is. Taking a supplement, that's not that difficult. It can be easier to spend $16,000, let's say, on a supplement, because all you got to do is take the supplement, spend the money. The root cause work, you really got to dedicate yourself to spiritual growth. You got to dedicate yourself to healing your soul, to evolving yourself, making your life better from the inside out. I'm not saying that supplements don't have value, like, increase the nutrition in your body, etc. Some things can help with reducing inflammation. That's great. I just think it should be part of their approach to healing, but never to think that that's actually going to be the solution long term. Because the real solution's got to come from within. It really does, for deep reasons.
Yeah. So you're actually responding to the message that Aria was talking about. The cancer is a message, you're responding to it. So it brings about an emotional maturity and reduces the stress, which is the root cause, according to your theories. And certainly, I can say that after taking the course, I've been spending time doing my own work for my own health. I do have chronic issues. I've had entire days where I've had to like do a 15-step process. So it is hard work, but I have seen results. I have reduced chronic problems in my ears with that work. So thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, and you're saying you had those problems in your ears for quite a few years, right?
God, I calculating something like 15 years. Yes.
Yeah. That's just our one tool you're talking about, the 15-step process. So it's a really powerful course. You pointed out something really important. You took a day to work on yourself with that tool.
Yes. And I've seen huge results.
Hmm. Yeah.
Something is very different. At what point can people enroll in the course? Is it like start at a specific time or can you enroll anytime?
You can start right away. It's a pre-recorded course. One of the reasons why this is beneficial too, that we did this, is because we would have clients booking sessions with us, like really wanting to get into deeper things and start doing this inner healing work. And we were booked for people are waiting 2 months to begin doing this work. I remember I had one client that by the time we did the session with them, because of their scenario, so everyone's scenario is different. Some people are stage 1, 2, or 3, or 4 cancer. Sometimes people are not in a good place. But I had one client that by the time I did the session with them, they were in the hospital, not in a good place. Had I been able to start helping with them right away, maybe it'd be a different story. That's one of the things that launched us into creating the course. So the course is available immediately. Like you can literally start learning right away. Now, the biweekly calls, they're on the 7th currently and the 21st of every month. So depending on what date it is, that's how long you'd have to wait if you have like a question you'd like to ask for one-on-one guidance. And even if you don't have a question, it's a great opportunity to join the call to listen to what other people are asking and the answers there. But basically, you just get right into the course and start learning. Start learning the tools, start practicing the soul connection exercises, start doing your journaling work and all the other things we're teaching. So I'd suggest just starting as soon as you can, right away.
That's fabulous. And of course, you can go at your own pace too.
Yeah, and I also say to people, I've learned over the years, sometimes what happens is people get too attached to trying to like accomplish the whole course all at once. And so they're just learning like all day long. And we get positive feedback, of course, but learning is still a head thing. And we feel when we're out of our head. So we got to balance like the educational part. And we talk about this more in the course, but for example, it's really beneficial to like, let's say, learn for an hour and then go for a walk in nature for an hour. Don't overwhelm yourself with the course, but also understand that you can start right away. And consistency is the thing that matters the most. So you're learning maybe a little bit every day.
Well, thank you both so much for joining me on Walking on Air.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
Bridget.
Bridget.